living a life for Christ in high school is not necessarily the cool thing to do. Inside Out is a place where my friends and I can come and have fun while loving Jesus. It's a place where I can worship and learn about the best God alongside my best friends, and there is nothing more hype than that.
I wouldn't be where I am today without my small group and small group leaders. And the bonds we have formed in that time have led me in a relationship with Jesus Christ that I didn't have before. For me, Inside Out was life-changing.
Aside from lifelong friendships, Inside Out has brought me something I've always struggled to find, a connection. It's an environment that somehow always makes me feel better regardless of what's going on in my life. My lows always turn into highs when I'm there. To see the welcoming faces of the people I've gotten to know over the past 4 years inspires me to love, to be happy, to be grateful.
With adult leaders to talk to and other students to walk throughout life with, Inside Out provided a safe place where we feel comfortable to be open with one another. For me, Inside Out was helpful.
By the end of your 4 years of high school, it is harder to think of people you know who aren't involved with drugs or alcohol than it is to name everyone who is. Throughout my 4 years of high school, I decided to keep drugs and alcohol out of my lifestyle. My friends have joked with me saying, I feel like we are a pretty persuasive, peer-pressuring group, and yet we still haven't managed to get you to drink. But Inside Out has shown me time and time again that there is a group of people every Sunday night that support that decision of mine. For me, Inside Out was real.
Before Inside Out, I was lost in the crowd just trying to fit in. I started to make bad decisions to feel accepted. But Inside Out showed me that I didn't have to be someone who I wasn't to be loved by my friends. Through Inside Out, I learned about Jesus' unconditional love for me. And on the walk 2016, I accepted that love for the first time.
Anxiety and depression consumed my entire life. Because of my experiences at Inside Out, I learned about a God who loves me, likes me, cares for me, and is there for me. These truths allowed me to come out of hiding and into the love and light of what Jesus could do for me and through me. It was this environment that I went from being sad, afraid, and lonely to being brave, joyful, and feeling known and loved by God and the people He has surrounded me with. For me, Inside Out was life-changing.
Inside Out was my family, especially after my dad passed away in 2015 from cancer. The guys in my small group have become my best friends over the years and are people that I can talk to about anything. It has been such a blessing to have a place to go every Sunday, no matter how tough my week has been, where I know I'm surrounded by people that love me.
Family isn't always connected by blood. It's the people in your life who want you to be in theirs and the ones who have accepted you for who you are. When one of my parents needed to get help for their alcohol addiction, my small group showered me and her with so much encouragement and love that they actually were considered family to us. Even now that my mother is a year sober and working to help others with their addiction, my small group still asks me how I am doing or how she is handling everything. Inside Out became my second family.
I went into high school thinking I had everything figured out. I didn't need or want anybody telling me how to live, especially people I thought I was better than. This arrogant mentality continued to grow until things began to fall apart. But this is when my eyes began to see God clearly. I began to see how intricately God placed these people in my life so that I could walk according to God's will in high school. The trajectory of my life has changed significantly since experiencing the grace of God through Inside Out.
As I personally accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior, I continue to fall in love with His unconditional love He has for us and the ultimate sacrifice He made for us. In just the past 4 years alone, I have experienced many heartbreaks I was only able to get through because of my relationship and faith I have in my Heavenly Father and His perfect timing.
In high school, I'd find myself at a place where I felt like there was not a reason to go on or to come back to Jesus because I thought I'd mess up again. But at Inside Out, I learned how to live in the now. And that is how I met Jesus. Not through good works, not through religious practices or rules. At Inside Out, I met Jesus, the one who loves me where I'm at, the one who consistently whispers to me I'm loved, and because of His sacrifice alone, I am and always will be enough.
Yeah, really cool to watch those students. And my name's Darren, I'm the student pastor here, and really great morning to celebrate our students as we wrap up this series called Pack Your Bags. It was really encouraging for me just to watch them breathe heavily after just running from the west to the east. That made me feel really good. Students, thank you for showing that you too are not in the best shape yet, so that makes me feel good. But we are wrapping up this series called Pack Your Bags, where we've been asking this question, how to prepare for what's next. And obviously, this is a big transition for students. For their season of life, that they're about to go into this time where it's like the unknown and the scary, the awkward. And so this morning we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to discover what we can do together to help them with that. We're also packing our bags for next Sunday and going to the beach because no one will be here. So make sure you don't show up here next Sunday because no one will be here, and so don't be here. But the students themselves, you're about to pack your bags, lots of bags. And you're about to head off to the next phase of life. And so we're going to celebrate that with you this morning and talk about that. Probably you don't know this, but maybe I've been thinking about it. These students were born in 1999. Yeah. Some of you just felt really old just now. Do you remember what you were doing in 1999? I do. I was freaking out about the year 2000. You remember that? The year 2000. Yeah. Remember that? It was like, you talk about pack your bags, you know? It was like 1,000 gallons of water and a 2-year supply of pinto beans in your bag that year. It was like, the computers are all going to crash. The world is coming to an end in the year 2000. But students, your parents remember packing their bag for the hospital when you were in the oven in 1999. Not an actual oven. That's something old people say. That's just you were about to be born. They were about to have their little baby boy or their little baby girl. And it's a sentimental moment. Everybody say with me, oh, they were so cute. Say, oh. What happened to them, right? So cute back then. But listen, my wife and I, Molly, we have 2 little girls ourselves. This is Collins and Malone. They're our awe moment for us. Excuse me about choked on my own tears about my kids here. But yeah, these kids are awesome. We love them, but they're really expensive. It costs a lot of money. Like the day they were born, you take them home from the hospital. As a new parent, you don't know this. Kids, you don't know. Students, you don't know this. But just to get out of the hospital, we have to pay for you. I didn't know. I thought they were ours. They were not yet. We paid for them. And so then, after that, it was like, formula is expensive. Don't judge us, all right? And daycare, I said don't judge us. It's expensive, and doctor visits and Target. Target is surviving on kids' shoes alone. I mean, they know that the kids need them like every 2 weeks, It's like, I thought we just bought them. Yeah, their foot grew yesterday, It's just, they're getting bigger all the time. It just costs a lot. And so there's a lot that's been invested into our students. And students, you don't know that. You don't know how much it costs. So I know that students, you're thinking, it's the end of high school and I wish that my family had more stuff. Some of you students, your parents, my kids are 4, you're 16, 17, 18, they've spent a small fortune on you. And some of you are wondered, why don't we have a vacation home? What happened to us, Mom and Dad? You happened. You're the reason. Your parents could have had a lot of stuff. You're the reason they can't have nice things in the house. All right? And I know you think your parents are weird and old and they're not that cool anymore, but you need to hug them before you leave. A lot, more than you think, because your parents used to be cool. They used to have cool clothes, but they spent all their money on yours. So they can't get them anymore. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Mom and Dad, they're not that cool and all that. But your parents, they used to look just like you. They did. Your mom was a hottie in high school. That's why your dad snagged her. They were young and in love once too. And some of them, they can't wait for you to leave so they can get back to kicking it. Honestly. It's the truth, man. It's the truth. They're all cheering right now. I'm sorry, I just want to gross you out there for a second. You're like, not my parents. Yep, your parents. But yeah, it's an exciting time for your parents and for you. And the reason I say that, the reason I start that way is just simple. Students in the room, students listening, high school graduates, a lot has been invested into you. There's been a lot that has gone into raising you, to keeping you alive when you couldn't keep yourself alive, just to providing for you. And not only physically, but spiritually too, like in your faith. The people of North Point Community Church, for many of you, have raised you up in your faith. They have poured time and effort and energy into you. Somebody in Wambaland taught you that Jesus wants to be your friend forever. Somebody in Upstreet spent time helping you know that you can trust God no matter what. Somebody was daring and audacious enough to walk with you through your weirdest time in middle school and teach you to have a faith of your own. And then for some of you, you had an inside-out leader who you convinced on the walk or vertical reality to let you sneak out late at night and behave miserably till I tracked you down from over 400 meters away at almost 40 years old, which is sad because even at my age, I can still smoke you. It's sad, but it's true. You have people who've invested in you, students. We as a church, many thousands of people in this room, not only walked with you, students, but they're walking with the next generations right now. People are serving in Wambaland this second. They're serving in Upstreet this minute. They're serving with Transit right now. They're walking with the next 11th grader and 10th grader. People in our church believe that helping the next gen win is a big, big deal. And we have given our time and our effort and our energy to making sure you've had what you need. And so we want to make sure, as you make this transition, this pack your bag moments for you students, that our investment pays off. And so I couldn't help but ask myself this question as we approach today: how can yesterday's investments continue to pay off tomorrow? Because today's about today, but today is also about yesterday and all the yesterdays leading up today. And today is about the tomorrows that are coming. So I want to ask ourselves, how can we make sure that yesterday's investments continue to pay off tomorrow? Because adults in the room, those of you who have served, those of you who are serving, those of you who want to serve, our investment in these students this year as they graduate, our investment right now is at its riskiest state. This is the time when our investment is at its most volatile moment. This time, from high school to college, is the time when our 18 years of investing in young people is at its weakest, most risky moment. Because statistics show that when you leave for college, between 40 and 50% of students who grow up with the faith leave their faith during their college years. There are about 150 students on the stage this morning. That means that of the 150 students who are graduating from Inside Out, 60 to 75 of them will abandon their faith in the next 4 years if that trend continues with us. So I have a question for you this morning. Wambaland volunteers, those of you who work with our 0 to 4-year-olds, are you good with that number? You okay with that? That your time and effort and energy, about 50%, will bail? Upstreet, volunteers in the room who've spent your time and your effort and your energy with young elementary age kids. You cool with that? You like those numbers? Transit volunteers who gave away hours and hours and hours and had some weird conversations and some crazy questions that you tried to navigate. You good with those numbers? Inside Out leaders who gave 2,000 plus hours of your time. Are you okay with that? Parents in the room of these graduating students, parents in the room of an 11th grader, a 10th grader, a 9th grader, an 8th grader, a 7th grader, a 6th grader, on down to my 3-year-old and my 4-year-old, or you got your baby here today. You good with those numbers that we would invest 18 years of our lives pouring into our young people just to watch them leave? That bothers me. As a student pastor, that really bothers me. And it makes me think we can do something about that. That shouldn't be okay. But this isn't new. This isn't like, where did you come up with this, Darren? I've never heard anything about people going astray in college. Never heard of that, you know? But we hear it all the time. We hear it in our baptism videos, you know, those moving stories that we hear. I'm going to start the story. You see if you can finish it with me. It goes like this. I was raised by a family that went to church, but then I went off to college. And I met some people, and I stopped waking up, and I stopped caring about kind of faith stuff. I put it up on a shelf, thinking to myself, I'd get back to it later. Then I graduated, went through some relationships that failed, made some decisions, chased the wrong things, ended up with some really painful outcomes. I got a bag of stuff that I wish I hadn't packed, but it's with me. It's called baggage, and it's pain and regret. Some of you, that's your story. Some of you, that's your baptism story. I gotta tell you, when I do the baptisms for those stories, I get choked up. I think they're awesome. I think it's like really, really cool that somebody could walk away from faith, struggle through things, but then be invited back to faith at a place like this where you are reminded that it's okay, that it's not really about how perfect you've been, that we love you and we care about you and all of that. I love hearing those stories. I get teary-eyed. I get choked up just listening to them. But you know what you don't hear in those stories? You don't hear about the 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 people who put their faith on a shelf in college hoping to get back and never made it back. You don't hear about those stories. You don't hear about the the details of the story that people wish I could get a do-over on this thing in my life because I went down the wrong path and I can't go back now. And I wish that I could. And I bet if we asked the people who that's your story in the room where you'd say, I drifted and I've got some pain in my life and some stuff in my story that I wish wasn't there. I bet if we asked you if you could change it, you might say, I might not change it because I learned a lot and I grew. But if I could help someone not take the path that I took, I would definitely do that. I would help them do it differently. And so I don't know all the answers. I'm not like a genius on how to rescue everybody or anything like that, but I've been studying this idea a little bit. And I think there's some things that we could do for our students that are graduating today and things we could do every year for our students who are graduating. And so I want to suggest that we begin by changing our language. Instead of saying, historically, we've said goodbye to students. We've looked at college and we've said, well, see you later, goodbye. Have a great life. We give you a little party, throw some cash at you, buy you matching bedspreads from Target, let you take us to Walmart for one more trip into our wallet, all expenses paid, you fill the minivan up with whatever you want, and then we just wave goodbye as they drive off in the car they stole from us. See you later. Bye. Good luck. I mean, it's like we send them off on some cruise ship somewhere where there's going to be like a whole bunch of attractive men and women, you know. There's going to be freedom of all kinds. There's going to be unlimited supplies of booze and drugs and whatever you want. And oh, by the way, no one's checking your history anymore and no one really cares because it's freedom and you're going to go off and just have fun, but good luck. Keep the faith. And then we wonder why they lose their faith. In fact, the sad part is we don't even wonder why they lose their faith. We assume they're going to lose their faith. And we're cool with that. We just think it's something you got to get out of your system. That's just the college life. You're just going to go off to college, have a good time, go nuts, maybe make it back to church, maybe make it back to faith. We don't know. Here's my thing. I just can't understand why we would pour 18 years into the life of a young person, raise them up, help them understand how to have a faith of their own, and then wave goodbye and say, see you later. Good luck there out in the terribly difficult, awful place you're going. You're probably not going to make it. See you later. Is that the plan? It can't be the plan. And listen, adults, I want to just talk to the adults in the room right now because I know what you're thinking, kind of. I know some of you are thinking, you know, oh, I showed up on youth group Sunday. Dang it. I can see you at lunch today, you know, talking to your friends like, hey, how was church today? Who spoke today? Who was there this morning? I don't know. It was the tall, skinny youth guy, I guess. I don't know. He was saying something. I don't know. I tuned out. I was buying some things on the Zon. I don't know. It's just got a few things. I get it. I understand. Like, you don't have a kid graduating. You don't have anybody like in the mix right now. But come on. You have investments. You know the value of investment. These students are our greatest investment. And together, we have to do something. We can't just say 50-50 is fine with us. For me, I'm kind of a 100 person. This is the emoji for the students when they want to keep it real. They want to keep it 100. You've maybe seen this before, you know. Be honest completely. Keep it real. This is 100. I want to keep it 100 with you this morning. And I would like to keep 100% of our students that we pour 18 years investing into. I think we can do better than 50%. I think we could keep 100%. And I have some ideas. You can cheer for that. I have some ideas, some simple things. I think we need to start by no longer just saying goodbye. We need to start by saying hello. Hello, students. Welcome to adulthood. We're glad you're here. You will find, students, that we adults, we don't know what we're doing either. You know, when we ask you, what are you majoring in? What are you doing with your life? Mostly we're just looking for ideas. We don't know. We haven't figured it out. town. And he said to Timothy, you're a young man who looks like you got some skill and some ability. I want to bring you with me. So he brought Timothy with him. For a while, Paul was like Timothy's small group leader, kind of showing him the ropes. But at some point, Timothy must have graduated from his time with Paul, because we have letters from Paul to Timothy. So we know they weren't together all the time. At some point, Timothy graduated and went off to life. And Paul writes him letters to help him. And here's what he writes in one of the letters, a verse in 1 Timothy chapter 4 that young people love to quote at the beginning. It says, don't let anyone look down on you because you are young. Preach, said the high school student. Preach it, yes. Don't look down at me because I'm young, I can do things. And we know that students, you have what it takes, and we don't want to look down on you because you're young. But I want you to know that Paul doesn't stop there. He actually goes on to say, don't let them look down on you because you're young, but actually set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. He said, Timothy, you must be an example because I have taught you. Students from North Point Community Church, someone has taught you something along the way. And you have this thing, and you're going to a place where everybody doesn't have that. There's a lot of people who've never been given what you've been given. So when you go, you must be an example. You must be an example in your speech, in your conduct, in your love, in your faith, and in your purity in college. Oh, I just thought they couldn't look at me as being young. I have to do all that? Yeah, that's why we invested in you. So you could be an example. It doesn't just have to be, hey, college student, high school student who's graduating, good luck. No, we can do better. You can be an example in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. And I want you to see something, adults, together. That just because Timothy was gone didn't mean Paul stopped. Paul did not stop leading Timothy because Timothy was gone. He wrote him a letter. And in that letter, what he was trying to do was he was trying to remind him. He's trying to remind him that what's behind him is still with him. And students, we want you to know that what is behind you is still with you. The things you've learned here at North Point Community Church, Inside Out, Transit, Upstreet, Wombaland, with your parents, from your leaders, is behind you. And it's still with you. So students in the room, if you're still here, if you're watching, I just want to share with you how we're behind you, because we want you to know that we are behind you. So a lot of it's through song. And so I brought a guitar in the bag today. It's a long, deep bag that I got right here. So it's a trick bag. But since Wombaland, we've been teaching you songs. And I'm a terrible, terrible singer. So this is going to be a lot of fun for everybody in here this morning. But in Wombaland, we taught you this song, and I didn't want to sing it, so I got my 3-year-old to sing it. And it goes like this. You can play that now. I can do the right thing. That works in Wombaland and college. That truth alone is behind you. You can do the right thing. And then you went to Upstreet and you heard this song. Upstreet leaders are hitting it right now. Yeah, your light can shine. You can be the example. That truth is with you, students. We've given you that. That's behind you. And then you went Upstreet a little further, and in our halls, this song. I don't know if this is in anybody's head all the time. It's in mine all the time. Father. These are the books of the Bible that make us, when we read it, they make us stronger. Yeah, that's with you. And then you went to middle school, and maybe you sang this song together. Higher, no one greater, no one like our God. There is none more able, Christ. Yeah, there's no one higher than your God. That's behind you, like you know that, students. That someone taught you that. And then Brett Stanfield wrote a song for you while you were in high school. And Brett, you're in the room right now. I know you are somewhere. Brett, stand up. I'm just kidding. I won't mess with you like that. But we have Brett Stanfield students writing songs for you that say, we are the sons, we are the daughters of God. No matter where we go, we're close to the Father's heart, including college and your dorm room. And that didn't go like that. I added that part. Wherever you go, God's with you. Like all those truths are behind you, and they're in your bag that we've already packed for you. And we want you to know, students, that we are behind you. This is a fact. We're behind you. But Paul didn't just say he was behind him, he went with him, and he wrote him a letter. And students, you have what's called a cellular mobile device. You have a phone that your parents paid for. Again, with the theme. And you're taking it with you. You probably have unlimited data. You have the ability to access. In this phone, you have the numbers of your small group leaders. And soon you may have the numbers of some people from our church in your phone. This thing works both ways, by the way. By the way, we're going to give you an option on adults in the room, a way that you can connect with our students through their phones. You're going to have to text them first. They do not take phone calls. Just FYI. But there's a way for you to connect, and maybe you can begin to pray for a student. And we're going to figure out a way that we can go with you. But the old way of going with you was a letter that Paul gave Timothy. This is the new way of going with you, that you can always be with you. We will be with you. Because enough of the saying goodbye. Enough of the saying good luck. It's time for us to help you say hello. So with your phone, your device for communicating, we will go with you, and we are with you. We're with you, students. Wherever you go, we're watching. No, I'm kidding about that. But we're with you. And students, I know, one of the things that students hate about the way older people talk to them is that it's always like some story about how their generation is worse than the previous generation. Some of you look at students on the Instagram, you're like, the Snapgram, what is going on here? What is this? You guys don't do anything right. And students, we're not going to be that way with you. Not our church, not this place. We're going to be for you. We're going to support you. This is why we got you, students. We got you a Bible that you can take with you. Every student gets a Bible that you can take with you. Put it in your dorm room. If you need to hide it somewhere because you're embarrassed at first, okay, we'll call you and talk to you about that. But you can take it with you. And then every student gets a laundry bag that says, keep it clean on it. We should write 1 Timothy 4:12 on it. But that's like way too churchy, right? That'd be embarrassing. We wanted you to actually use it, okay? So we didn't write that on there. But this is kind of like our 1 Timothy 4:12 to our students. Hey, students, don't let anybody look down on you because you're young, but be an example. Keep it clean. So every time you do your laundry, both semesters, we want you to think about the fact that you can do this. You can set the example because we're behind you, we're with you, and we are for you. And we believe in you. So church, I just want to encourage you as we wrap up this morning to think about the way yesterday's investments will pay off is with intentionality. Yesterday's investments will pay off tomorrow by us being intentional. Just doing a few things. See, I have a few ideas that we can do. Simple things, they're not hard, but they take intentionality. So my question for you this morning that we can discuss together is, how can you personally, intentionally shape tomorrow? How can you shape tomorrow for these students? But not just for these students, for next year's students, for the year after that, for our sophomores and our freshmen, and for our fourth graders and for our 3-year-olds. How can we help shape their tomorrow when their time with us is done? What can we do? Well, we wanted to make this as easy as possible. So our team asked all of our students, graduating students' parents, to send us in a picture. So we took those pictures, we put their name on it, and we put where they're going, what they're doing next year, and we printed multiple copies of every student who's graduating, and we made a board out in the hallway and out in the atrium of all their pictures. And we want to ask you, if you are here, if you'd be willing to take a picture home with you, put it on your refrigerator, and pray for that student between now and the time they go off to college. If you want to get crazy, pray for them for a year. You want to get real crazy, pray for them throughout college. Make that your student that you're going to pray for. I would tell you, that's like the entry-level position. That's like if you want to just get this thing started, that's a way you can get started. But some of you are thinking, I want to do more than that. I want to walk with a student. I want to go with a student. I want to make sure that we don't say goodbye to a student. I want to help a student say, hello world. So here's what you can do. You can email me, darren.youngstrom@northpoint.org, and in the subject line, you can just put, I want to be there for a student. And I know I'm going to get a lot of emails. That's why I have a team of people working on this together. But if it takes us sorting through 2,000 emails, I'm cool with that. Because if we have thousands of people here and only 150 of them, surely we can work together to make sure we keep it 100. Like we could do something to make sure that we don't lose 75 every year. That every year we just go, well, 50-50 odds, good luck to you. So here are my ideas. Here's how you can intentionally shape tomorrow. For one, we'll help you make a week 1 phone call. College is coming and the first week matters. So we would love it if some of you called our graduates. First of all, again, you'll have to text them first to let them know I'm not a creeper, I'm not a weird number. I'm somebody from your church who's been praying for you. I was wondering if you had 5 minutes. And students, give them 5 minutes. You will have time in college. Get up from your nap and give them 5 minutes. But what would it mean if someone was at a school far from home and got a call from somebody at their church that said, hey, how are you doing? Have you found a church? I'm praying for you. My family's praying for you. Just wanted to check in with you and see if you were making it okay. I remember the first week of college. It's difficult, it's lonely, but you can do it. We're with you and we're for you. How cool would that be? And maybe you want to just send somebody a care package with a note. I mean, how amazing would that be if you actually sent a care package to a student and they got it in their dorm room and they were like, what is this? They actually listened that morning when Darren said something and they found my college dorm room and they sent this to me and it has a note in it and it says, I'm praying for you. Here's a verse that's meant a lot to me. Maybe some of you could just send a pizza. How crazy would that be? You know, knock, knock, the pizza guy shows up. Like, hey, here's your pizza. And they're like, I didn't order a pizza. And the guy was like, no, some lady named Jill said it was for you and something about Galatians 3:4. I don't know what she means. Students, you'll know what she means. Galatians. Read it and eat your pizza and enjoy it. How cool would that be? If first semester, freshman year, you're feeling lonely, you're feeling lost, knock at the door, free pizza. Somebody from your church is thinking about you. Maybe this faith thing ain't so bad. Maybe I can hang on to it. Maybe you know somebody really well and you want to do a monthly check-in. Put it on your calendar. I'm checking in on you every month. You don't like it? Too bad, I'm doing it. You could send a text message if like, this is where you feel comfortable. It just says, hey, I'm praying for you. My name's Brent. I go to North Point. We love you and we miss you. Or you could do this. This is crazy. You could write a letter. That's one of those things on paper with a pen. You write it down. Students don't know what it is, but you'll shock them. In a sea of text messages, a letter will stand out. And just tell them that you've been praying for them. Tell them something important they need to know about keeping their faith. Or lastly, maybe you could do this. You could just send a card, $20 and a verse. And it would be like, oh, I have everything I need. Encouragement, cash, and I can do that. I mean, what is the difference maker? This is a big deal that you could do because we want to tell our students in as many ways as possible, hey students, we're behind you, we're with you, we are for you. Listen, if what we took 18 years to build can be ripped away in 2 weeks, church, don't you think we can give 2 more weeks? Couldn't we give 2 more weeks to make sure that we don't lose half our students? We've been pouring into them. So we're gonna sing a song right now, and as the band comes out, I wanna tell you about this song. It's a song called Even When the Fight Calls. And this morning, in some ways, I'm calling you, church, into the fight for at least 2 more weeks. So as you think about this, and as we sing this song, I want you to think, what's my role? What can I do in this fight for this pack your bag moments for this group? I know some of you are in the room right now and you're thinking, that sounds great for the graduates, but Darren, honestly, I'm struggling myself. And I would love it if someone sent me a pizza. I'd love it if somebody sent me a text message. I'd love it if somebody sent me a care package, just somebody knew I existed and my problems were here. But I want you to know, if that's you this morning, our church still believes this is true for you, that we're behind you. We are with you and we are for you. We have a care ministry ready to serve you. We have a place called Starting Point. If you have questions about faith, where we want to connect you, all you have to do is connect with us at the studio right out in the atrium. We'd love to make sure that you have what you need as well. Because come on, isn't it true? Isn't it true that all of us need people that are behind us? with us and for us. And maybe there's no greater time than when you're headed off to college to know that your church is behind you, your church is with you, and your church is for you. So let's fight together.
Together. You've overcome this world with love, and you've made my fight your own. So I lift my eyes and throw fear aside and sing out into the night, and I'll sing even when the world cares, even when the fight goes, even when the war's waged, I'll take heart, 'cause I know you're greater, forever you are Savior, and I will sing your praise with all that I have, with all that I am, Lord. All that we have received, I'll stand down the waves, 'cause you own the tide, and I'll still my soul and know that you wait for me on waters wide, where faith walks above the storm. 'Cause even when the world cares, even when the fight goes, even when the war's waged, I'll take heart, 'cause I know you are greater, forever you are Savior, and I will sing your praise with all that I have, with all that I am, Lord, with all that I am, Lord. And I won't let the storm weather my heart, I won't let the darkness beat me down. I'll sing in the night my hope alive in you, and I'll walk through the fire and not be burned. I'll pray in the fight and watch it turn. Jesus, my life, I give it all to you. Whoa. And I won't let the storm weather my heart, I won't let the darkness beat me down. I'll sing in the night my hope alive in you. Yes. And I'll walk through the fire and not be burned. I'll pray in the fight and watch it turn. 'Cause Jesus, my life, I give it all to you. Yes. And I won't let the storm weather my heart, I won't let the darkness beat me down. I'll sing in the night my hope alive in you. Yes. And I'll walk through the fire and not be burned. I'll pray in the fight and watch it turn. 'Cause Jesus, my life, I give it all to you. Yeah. Whoa. Whoa. We give it all to you. 'Cause even when the world caves, even when the fight goes, even when the war's waged, take heart, 'cause I know you are greater. Forever you are Savior, and I will sing your praise with all that I have, with all that I am, Lord. With all that I have, with all that I am, Lord, we sing to you. Ooh.
Well, we believe that deeply, that if you feel like right now you're in the middle of a fight, we know that there are graduating seniors that are about to walk into a fight, but as Darren said, that might be you today, and we just want to let you know that there is hope for wherever you are, because there's a God who says, I will never leave you. So thank you for singing that with us. Thank you for being here today. Could you guys do me a favor and tell Darren how much you appreciate it today? Darren, thank you, for real. Thank you for your heart. I've never met anybody that cares more for people than Darren, and today is just such a great example of that, so thank you. We've got a great way for you to stay in touch with students. We really do mean that. We want to say hello, world. We're not saying goodbye. And so as you walk out today, there's a couple of displays where you can grab a picture of a student to remind you to pray for them. We would also love it if you would go by the studio today. If you're brand new, or maybe you're trying to figure out how to make this big church your church, we would love to help you do that today. And so go by the studio and have a quick conversation. We've got some coffee in there and some waters, and we would love to have a conversation with you about what that might look like. So drop by. Reminder, next week, as Darren said, we do this, but we give our volunteers the week off next week. And so we're not going to be here. You're welcome to be here, but the building will be closed and we will not be here. But we hope that you'll remember that. And then June 4th, we're kicking off the summer in a massive way. If you've got kids, I hope today is an encouragement for you. If you're watching North Point Live today, or if you're sitting anywhere in the building, that today would be an encouragement for you to make sure that your kids are here for the kickoff of the summer, because it's going to be amazing. June 4th is going to be stellar. Thank you so much for being here today. Make sure to tell the parking people thank you on your way out. You guys have a great Sunday. We'll see you back here on June 4th. Thank you.